Alex, you can take over with your slides.
Thank you. Give me a second, please. I want to share my screen because, as we agreed, it's easier for me to share the presentation from my end. Okay, can you see my screen?
Not yet.
It's coming.
Yay, yes.
All right, so thank you everyone for participating of this meeting. Let me briefly tell about our chapter. So the story started in 2010s. About 2010s, we raised the question, why don't we have the IIBA chapter in our country? And we started the initiative, but it wasn't successful because the BA community in our country didn't support this intention. At that time, not a lot of people knew about the BA guide and IIBA in general, and the purpose of the chapter creation was unclear for the most of them. We initiated this process in 1 year again, but again we couldn't complete it. And at last, in 2014, we started this initiative once more. We made great effort to explain the value uh, of the initiative to create chapter, to connect Russia BA community to the international BA community, to make the international BA knowledge and experience available in our country. We collected a lot of signatures under the petition from all parts of our big country, and as a result, in July 20, uh, in July 2015, our chapter was formally recognized. About the current situation, we have about 50 plus members in our chapter, and almost 100% of them are business analysis practitioners working in real projects in a broad range of the industries from banking to IT, from BA consulting to the real production. But the real BA community created around the chapter is much bigger. For example, we have several groups on Facebook and LinkedIn. The group we created to share the status of the BA professional standard development. This is one of the projects we conduct in borders of the our chapter. I'll talk about this project a bit later. It has more than 752 members. The IIBA Russia chapter on the LinkedIn has 320 members, and the IIBA Russia chapter group on Facebook has 1,267 active members. We use these platforms to share the information about the chapter activities, to discuss professional questions, and to ask participants to share their opinion regarding the key BA questions and to share their experience. Let me briefly explain the structure of our chapter leadership team. Initial configuration of the chapter BOID board of director was the following. We had the president, and thanks God we still have the president. We had the secretary of president. We had professional development and training vice president. We had marketing and communication events planning, membership practices, and financial vice presidents. Again, it was when we just created the chapter, and at that time we were not sure what we need to do, what activities we should conduct in the borders of our chapter. So the BOD configuration was compiled based on our very rough understanding we had at that time. Later on, we understood that maybe we don't need to have such a lot of players in our team, and we optimized the BOD. So we lost the secretary position and two vice presidents, practices and financial. Regarding the personalities, we had approximately the same situation as we have with the positions. The chapter BOED is quite live organism. Because of that, some colleagues join us, some left. At the end of the day, we have the following persons as the member of the chapter BOED. So we have Alex Belin, that's me, president. We have Georgy Savelyev, professional development and training vice president. We have Dmitry Stolarov, events planning vice president. We have Yulia Rizmatova membership, and we have Sergey Yevtukovich. He is Vice President Marketing and Communication. Let me add a bit more details about the BOED members. Georgy is the second co-founder of Russia chapter. In chapter, he occupies the professional development and training vice president position. And as the BA, he made a big contribution to the development of the BA profession in Russia and in general. For example, he participated in the Babel Guide version 3.0 development. Also, he's an author of the Thrifty Business Analyst book, which is actually available on Amazon. As the chief business analyst, he works in EPAM System, this is company, and participated in very interesting and challenging projects in such countries as Russia, Oman, Poland, Kazakhstan, and United States. About the next guide, Yulia. Yulia joined the BOED about 1 year ago, and before that we had a very productive collaboration with her in a very challenging project conducted by our chapter. Yulia and her group made a huge contribution, and the success we had actually in that project was mostly thanks to experts like Yulia. In our chapter, Yulia occupies the membership vice president position. And Yulia works as the head of the analysis and design department in OTR 2000s, this is the name of the company, and won several nominations, like the best analyst of the company, the best employee in the nomination professionalism, and the best manager of the company. Dmitry is our colleague who works in BOED from the very beginning of our chapter life. He plays the roles of the events planning vice president. Dmitry works as the solution architect in Raiffeisenbank, Russia, and has 15 plus years of experience in IT, 7 plus years in bank IT projects as the solution architect, IT analyst, and he works in such areas as retail, investment, finance, risk, and compliance. A lot of very interesting experience. And Sergey is another colleague who works in our chapter BAD from the beginning of the chapter life. Initially, he was the secretary, and later on, we moved him to the marketing and communication vice president position. And outside of the chapter, Sergey works as the business analyst and dev team lead in the Sberbank. This is the biggest bank in the Russian Federation. And he works in remote banking for financial institution department. And Alex Belin, the president, it's me. I am the co-founder and the elected president of the Russia chapter. I was educated as the space engineer and I worked for about 20 years in the space industry. But life changed and I removed to the IT area. I started as the Oracle developer. After that, I worked as the system architect, system analyst, and at last as the business analyst. Now I work in the EPAM system as the lead business analyst. And it happened that last 3 years I live and work in the United States. But actually, it doesn't prevent me from managing our chapter projects and the chapter in general. Moving forward and developing the professional knowledge and skills, I made the decision to get more narrow specialization. So I finished several educational courses about digital business, digital transformation of the business, and learned such interesting technologies as artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, blockchain, and cybersecurity. Courses were provided by the MIT and the Columbia University in New York. And I completed the postgraduate diploma in digital business, again provided by the MIT and the Columbia University in New York. Regarding the chapter, actually I wouldn't say that our chapter is standard because such a lot of things about our chapter are unusual and even weird. For example, last 3 years, our chapter lives in the situation when 70% of BOAD members live outside of Russia. We had one vice president who lived in Poland and moved to the Oman later on. This is Georgie. Another vice president moved to Australia for the permanent living. And I personally moved from Moscow to Malaysia, and I lived in Malaysia more than 1 year, and after that I moved to the United States. And only two our vice presidents still live in Moscow, Russia. So in those circumstances, we didn't have a lot of chances to meet offline with our members and the BA community to initiate meetups or conferences. Because of that, we decided to focus mostly on the more fundamental and academical projects, aiming the purpose to establish and promote business analysis as the profession in Russian Federation. So the next several slides are dedicated to present the chapter projects. Based on the country legislations, all professions should be covered by the professional standard. The professional standard is a standard which gives the profession definition, identifies levels of the qualifications, experience, knowledge, and skills which each business analyst should have on various levels of qualification. So the Russia chapter ran this project about 2 years ago. In order to perform this project, we created the country-wide cooperation of university professors, business top managers, and BA practitioners of lead level. We made a deep analysis of bodies of knowledge and standards which cover the business analysis and related areas like project management, data management, risk and change management, and many others. And I would say the total number of standards analyzed by our team was about 20. We developed the standard structure and content. We developed our own competency model, which is very close to the IIBA one, but has some specific extensions. And at last, in October 2018, the Ministry of Labor officially accepted our standard and recognized business analysis as the profession in the Russian Federation. Another project which we conduct, this is the recognition from the Ministry of Labor. And another project which we conduct for about 3 years is the Bible Guide translation. Actually, I have already presented this project in details on one of the previous regional meetings, so I want to touch the main points about this project only. As I mentioned earlier, the market for this translation is really huge. The Russian version is expected to be in a big demand in the following countries. These are Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Georgia, Armenia, Baltic countries, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and even Romania, Bulgaria, and Israel. I mentioned that we conduct this project for about 3 years. It sounds like a long time, but we have volunteers only in our project. It means that they spend their personal time working in this project and we cannot push them on that. Everybody makes his or her own decision how much time she or he is ready to sacrifice for our project. So keeping in mind all this stuff, I would say that our project team members have done a great job. For this project, again, we created the cooperation. In terms of the roles, we have translators, we have reviewers, we have editors, and we have a project manager. The BA practitioners did the translation itself. This is their purpose. They translated the BA guide text. We involved professional translators to review the translation itself. And also we invited a great expert in the Russian language to polish the Russian text. She is a university professor and her specialization is Russian language. And we dedicated two editors for final text verification. These are Georgie and me. Also, we created the multi-stream process and we defined the areas of responsibility and activities for all kinds of project rules for each project phase. Actually, I provided a lot of details on my previous presentation of this project. And the project is almost completed. We have completed the translation and the first editor review for the entire Baybook text. We almost completed the second editor review. Simultaneously, we have work group of IIBA members and professional linguists who works on the Russian text. And the challenging plan which we try to follow is to complete the project and make the Russian version available for IIBA and potential readers till the end of the current summer. Actually, that's it, and I would be happy to answer your questions.